What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to critique one of our viewers' books from Colombia. His name is Carlos. Let's check it out. All right, so Carlos has put his portfolio on Behance. Behance is a great website to share design work and to kind of enter this design community and see what other people are doing, but I wouldn't recommend it for it being your primary portfolio site. I think it's very important that you have your own individual site so that you're not just selling your work, but you're selling yourself as well. And that goes through things like the about section, your resume, other things that help somebody make that, job decision to kind of bring you in for that interview. So we're gonna jump right into this lettering collection volume 1. So overall, this is aesthetically pleasing. I really like it. The only thing I would slightly critique about it is there are some curvatures in this piece that have maybe a bit too many anchor points that could be smoothed out a little bit. Something I always like to do when you're just doing one-offs with type is to express what it's trying to express through the typography. So with it being shine on, is there any way to add some design elements that kind of mention shine? Is it that you have a sunburst behind your type or something like that? Kind of infusing the meaning of the type into the type itself. That always can look really nice in your book. But overall, pretty nice. I like all the texture you're using. Yeah, this type is pretty groovy. I'd say this little piece next at the end of the Y, I would just curve that out. It looks like an error, but other than that, I don't have much to critique about this stuff, man. It's really clean stuff. It's showing that you have a broad range of typography skills. You're not just using the same script over and over again. You're using all sorts of different lettering styles and infills and strokes and things of that nature. So overall, pretty cool. Like, this is what I'm talking about. So you brought in how to measure a planet, and you have this like measuring device and little planetary things and stuff going on. That just helps elevate that piece to feel more unique and more like everything was done with a purpose. So really liking that stuff. And yeah, you just continue to get better and better. This Meet is Murder one is a little bit rudimentary. It's not the strongest out of your pieces, and a lot of that doesn't necessarily have to do with the type, but it has to do with the color scheme and the visuals. So everything feels a little disjointed. You have these kind of line drawings around your type, but those same line weights and things are not present in your typeface itself. So just try to work on a little bit of consistency there. And then color palette wise, I would just make things feel a little bit more cohesive, and sometimes that's just limiting your color palette. You'd be surprised how many times if you just take back the colors and make it to where it's all one color or two or three max, it will highly elevate these kind of typography pieces. So currently I would take this piece out of your book because your other pieces are just so strong. But yeah, everything's looking really nice. Great lettering skills. So overall, the type treatments in this first section of your book are great, man. And I am not going to hate on them. So I would give this section a 8.5 out of 10. And I'd say I would elevate that even more to a 9 if this Meets His Murder got murdered. So this was something that stood out to me, and when I thought back about reviewing your book, this is one of the pieces I was excited to show, which is this 36 days of typography. And I wish that a lot of people would take on this challenge. If you are looking to do typography, take a letter every day, just one letter, and try to elevate that letter, make that letter unique, and kind of mess with it. And that's what you did in this assignment, and it's really cool. There are some that are much stronger than others. This B, for instance, is so well done. Like, it's very great. And then some other pieces like this F feel a little bit more, elementary. I like that your letters feel very unique. You use different design elements with them, different flourishes. Some are serif, some are sans serif. So there's just a great broad range, and I think that really helped push you to be a better typographer because you really experimented with all sorts of stuff. So this 4 is the only one that kind of really rubs me a different way than the rest of your stuff, because everything feels so cohesive with these solid backgrounds, and then you go super detailed here, which is fine to experiment around. But if you're showing them all in a group like this, I would recommend just matching the background style and just have your yoga pose person on a blank background. And I think that one alone would just feel like it's more of a piece of this full kind of alphabet and numeric typeface display. So I love the challenge. I love how many different typefaces you used. I like how much you explored with different things. None of them feel exactly like the other ones. And for that reason, I give this type experimentation a 9 out of 10. All right, so something I notice in a lot of student books is that they put everything in their book to show capabilities. I can do a billboard. I can do a print layout. I can do a social post. But sometimes those pieces aren't good enough to be in your portfolio, and they actually weaken the rest of your pieces. If I had gone through these type designs and then clicked on this publication right here, I'd be like, yes, you can do a layout, but this isn't giving me much besides knowing that you can do a layout. And for that reason, I would axe that from your portfolio altogether. It's better to show a limited amount of great work than to show all the work that you've done if some of it isn't to, the grade that you think it should be. So for instance, for a layout, I would give this Santa Cruz print ad a 3 out of 10. It's just a basic layout. It's something that is not super out of the box and that a lot of people can do. So for that reason, I would axe this from your book just to make your whole portfolio as a whole much better. So I'm gonna go down to this Carrie drop cap. So Carrie's that creepy book and movie from Stephen King. Your process: first I think about all the things that come to my mind with the novel and use some of this to begin with the sketch. Then I choose the best elements that can relate to the history, and finally I digitalized. So I always love this kind of stuff, especially with logo design, or I think in this case you're doing a book cover design. But showing your sketches and stuff, the process is nice to see. I would just always end with the process, and I know that seems different because that's how you got to the finished product. But if you're a creative director going through someone's book quickly, you want to see all the best stuff immediately, and you're going to click in and out of different pieces. And this is one that I think you should have this right here at the very beginning to kind of be an eye catcher. But overall, I really like it. It's a playful, illustrative style. You can tell you're trying to be imperfect with the line work and the curves and stuff, and I actually appreciate it here. It feels intentional. So for this C cover design, and you threw it onto a poster, I would give it a solid, let's go 7 out of 10. It still feels a little student booky, but I think if you added some texture, that would really accelerate it a lot. And we're going to end on your personal branding. I like to talk about personal branding a lot because a lot of the times people are like, okay, I need a personal brand, I need a logo. Usually it becomes your initials. Sometimes you can try to brand yourself as something else. I brand myself as Open Door Creative for the purpose of I like to be an open door for people. I like to be an open door for my clients. I'm never hiding information, always being as truthful and honest as possible, like I'm doing in this critique. I personally think that it's important that your personal brand and your logo should identify with a characteristic of yourself or what you're trying to display through your art. So this one took me a while to see exactly what I think you're trying to show here. But what I'm thinking you're trying to show is you have this mountain peak, and yes, the M is for Melo maybe, your last name, but this top portion is one of those kind of blips that you put on a map. It's one of those points saying like you are here. So to me, this is saying your artwork can be at the top of the mountain. Is that kind of what you're going for? If not, then I would maybe refine a little bit. This starts to get a little weird in that these kind of shapes cut off. It almost looks like the sides are wings, and I would almost just complete the circle and have everything live in this kind of circle holding shape. So yes, your inspiration was this place icon. Cinematic Union Movement. Okay, so I like that you're showing that you had some thought behind your logo's process, and then you go through your process sketches, which are good. But I'm digging more where you are here than where you actually landed. Remember, this is all my opinion. You don't have to take it to heart. But yeah, you thought out a whole brand guide for yourself, and I appreciate that. I would just work on simplifying your logo just a tad. Overall, pretty good. I would personally give your personal brand logo a 5.5 out of 10. I think it could be a little stronger. I think that it might confuse a few people on first look. But overall, cool portfolio, man. You're doing a great job. Just keep it up. Currently, as someone coming into your book, I would label you as a typographer. So if you want to be labeled as a graphic designer, make sure to push your design skills, push yourself conceptually, try to make more 360-degree campaigns, or try to experiment with really crazy layouts that no one's kind of ever done before, don't be safe. Because you weren't safe in your typography, but you got a little bit more safe in your layouts throughout your portfolios. And as you progress, please keep sending me your work, because I'd love to keep seeing where you go, Carlos. So thank you so much from Bogotá, Colombia. And if anybody else on the channel from anywhere wants to send in their book and get it ripped apart on this channel to hopefully make yourself better, the more you put yourself out there, the better your stuff is gonna get. So send it my way. I won't be afraid to critique it if you're not afraid to show it. So until next time, I'll see you later.